A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I watched Mean Girls with my then partner. It was part of a deal we did where I pick a film and then she picks a film. I made her watch Saw and I regret nothing. So when Mean Girls was picked for the Film Review Open Challenge, I had a degree of trepidation about it. I don't remember much about the film at all. Oh, excuse me a second.
Hey, it's Bradley J.
Hey Brad, it's Nick, or CPA, or late for dinner, whatever. What do you call me? I don't know. Anyway, the new episode of Off the Hop Rope is live. Check it out. It's on Podbean, bro.
Oh, right, yeah. I'll check it out. I'm recording my Mean Girls review at the moment, but yeah, I'll look at it straight afterwards.
I highly recommend you check it out once you're done with that Mean Girls video. It's pretty fetch, bro.
Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen. Look, I've got to go. I'll see you later.
Right, now where was I? Ah, yes. Now I don't remember much about the film at all. I remember it had Rachel McAdams in it, but then that's because I've seen her in so many things since then. Let's give this another look then. Here's my review of Mean Girls. Katie has been homeschooled all her life by her zoology parents in Africa. Her mum has offered a job in America, and Katie is sent to high school, something that she has no experience with. The first day is rough, but the second day she makes friends with Damien and Janice, who give her a rundown on the cliques, including the Plastics, three girls who make everyone else's lives hell. Katie intrigues the Plastics, who are made up of Karen, who's not the sharpest knife in the drawer, Gretchen, a spoiled rich kid, and Regina, their leader, who's their queen bee. The Plastics invite Katie to sit with them for lunch, a big deal apparently since they never invite anyone outside their trio, to which Janice suggests that Katie spy on them. Katie, meanwhile, has developed a crush on Aaron, Regina's ex, who's very much off limits according to Gretchen and Karen. Regina finds out though and tells Katie that she'll talk her up to Aaron at the Halloween party, but instead gets back together with him right in front of Katie. This is where the revenge plan begins. With the help of Janice and Damien, Katie starts to break the Plastics from the inside, tricking Regina into eating weight gain bars instead of weight loss bars, getting Gretchen to spill secrets about Regina by means of distrust, and stealing Aaron by pretending to be bad at maths, her strongest subject. Through all the planning and plotting though, Katie slowly becomes part of the Plastics herself, and Regina has a meltdown. Katie assumes the Queen Bee role, with Gretchen and Karen now following her around. Regina's revenge is brutal though, publishing the Burn Book, a book where the Plastics have been writing mean things about everyone in the school. But first she adds herself to it so that all the blame will be laid on Katie, Karen and Gretchen. This causes a riot, not exaggerating, where all the female students must go to a trust-building assembly in the gym. Harmony is restored, but no one owns up to the Burn Book until Miss Norbury, Katie's teacher, gets dragged off to be questioned about pushing drugs on kids, based on something Katie herself wrote in the Burn Book. Katie confesses to be the one behind the Burn Book alone, and the Plastics disband right after Regina gets hit by a bus. She survives, but has to wear a medical halo for a while. Katie joins the mathletes who, knowing her natural aptitude for maths, have been trying to recruit her all year, and Katie ends up winning the championship for them. Katie goes to the school dance where she's voted as queen, but she shares the crown with everyone and gives a speech which has everyone forgive her. So here's the thing, I don't go into a film looking for things that are wrong with it. I go to enjoy them, but if something doesn't work for me in a review, I'll highlight it. You might want to sit down for this one. I'm struggling to find any faults with Mean Girls. It's by no means a film that is outstanding, but at the same time, it has very few faults whatsoever. Firstly, it's only about 90 minutes long, so it doesn't overstay its welcome, and not a single minute is wasted. The first thing we find out is who our main protagonist is, and the setup for the story. The story itself is maybe a little bit predictable, but then sometimes you don't need to be unpredictable when the story you're telling is simple and straightforward, unlike this sentence. Katie's transformation from outsider to queen bee in her own right is a slow and gradual build, and has the moral of be true to you, a lesson she learns in the end through the medium of the mathletes. They're a metaphor for who Katie should be, as she turns them down more and more as she transforms into the head of the Plastics. Likewise, by the end of the film, the rest of the Plastics have become their own person, save for Gretchen, who simply joins another group. Not everyone has to develop sometimes. The characters are not defined by their traits, mostly. A few side characters are pigeonholed into being described by a word or a sentence. Damien being described as too gay to function seems to take the ball and run with it, is exactly how to describe his character. Likewise, Karen described as stupid, Gretchen described as rich, and Regina described as Queen Bee could be applied, but with the way these characters are portrayed, it's entertaining enough to not be a problem. This only applies to female characters though. The male characters have no depth, Damien aside, and none of them come across as likeable. Even the love interest Aaron seems to have no will of his own until he storms out to Katie's party, and even then he's quick to forgive and forget. The best lines come from Karen, who cracks me up, from her psychic boobs to her general nature of not knowing what's happening outside the plastics. She's portrayed by Amanda Seyfried, who went on to be the daughter Sophie in Mamma Mia. I guess we've gone full circle then, because I hated her character there and loved her here. Most of the cast go on to bigger and better things. Diego Klattenhoff, who has a very minor role here as Regina's boyfriend, went on to play Agent Wrestler in The Blacklist. Rachel McAdams has been in loads of well-known movies since Mean Girls, such as Sherlock Holmes, Doctor Strange, and About Time, all of which I recommend. Meanwhile, Lindsay Lohan became a household name before her public implosion, and Lacey Chabert voiced Princess Elise in Sonic 06. Well, they can't all be winners. If I'm nitpicking, then I'm not a fan of how Katie is portrayed by Lindsay Lohan. There's something about the way she says certain lines and acts that seems forced and not very natural. Tina Fey wrote the screenplay for Mean Girls and plays the teacher Miss Norbury. But at least in the films I've seen, Tina Fey always seems to play the same character in everything she's in, much like Tommy Lee Jones or Vince Vaughn. She's a grounded, down-to-earth adult who sees the silly situation around her and tries to set things straight, often at her own expense. It's a character that fits in here with a subtle side story that she's getting interest in Principal Duval after her divorce over the summer. Despite my positives, I cannot for the life of me figure out why Mean Girls became such a phenomenon. It's good and it has few flaws, but it's more a film that gets a B grade rather than an A grade. The kind of film that does things to the letter and slightly above, but nothing outstanding. It's why I can't fault it, but also why I can't sing its praises that highly. Mean Girls Day on October 3rd is a thing on social media, apparently, and you're encouraged to wear pink because of these lines.
On October 3rd, he asked me what day it was.
It's October 3rd. On Wednesdays, we wear pink.
Mean Girls is also now a musical. Do we really need a Mean Girls musical? Mean Girls is also said to be the inspiration for Mariah Carey, Ariana Grande, and even inspired a tweet from Barack Obama when he was president, as well as a certain wrestler from New Jersey. It also had a lesser-known sequel which went straight to DVD. Out of curiosity, I did watch this and, well, if we're going to do this, let's do this properly. Mean Girls 2 is an awful sequel. It's set at a different school with different students but the same principal for some reason. The plot is a mess, the characters are gullible and idiotic, and at times it made me angry with how things should have been dealt with. I don't recommend you watch this, even as a curiosity, as it has nothing going for it. It's like they had a vague idea of how the first film went at about a fifth of the budget. I give this film an E rating, will not see again. Oh, and has no one heard of fingerprinting or criminal damage in this world? Mean Girls 1 surprised me on my second viewing on how much it made me laugh and how much I enjoyed it. I can't say I get the massive hype for it 16 years later, but this film may be the highlight of the Film Review Open Challenge so far. It's funny, it has a decent story, and occasionally it's very surprising. Put simply, using some slang from England, this film is totally fetch. Next up for the Film Review Open Challenge is Clueless. Until then though, thank you very much for watching. Nerd isn't first, but forget what you heard. I'm like James Bond the third. Shaking, not stirred. I'm Kevin the Poor. The G silent when I sneak in your door.